Hey everyone, so time for an update. We have been home for just about a week now, and we've been catching up on a lot of sleep and chores and things like that. I've been hiding out a little bit. Once I got home, my anxiety and exhaustion just kind of peaked, and I just needed to just kind of take a break from everything. So I spent the last several days catching up on sleep and just being with my family. But you guys are long overdue for an update. So now's a pretty perfect time to do that. Friday, after we got back, Paige went to Matthew's play with us. He had a play up at the school. We live about a half mile away. And he did wonderful. He really stepped out of his comfort zone and went for something completely unexpected from his dad and I. And we're really proud of him for doing that. And he did really well. But we decided to walk home from the play. Andy had to go somewhere, and we said, just go and we'll walk. It was a gorgeous evening, and we got about a quarter of a mile from the house, and Paige's right lung started hurting a little bit. It's bad enough that she wasn't too sure about continuing to walk, so I carried her home, and she got some more rest and felt fine after a little bit. So Saturday, at the spur of the moment, she was still feeling well, so we decided to go to Silver Dollar City. We had some extra fuel left over from being hospitalized for 2 weeks and not having to run any of the usual errands or anything like that. So we decided to use our season passes and just make the trip. I mean, it was practically no out of pocket expenses for us. So anyway, she did really great. You know, she walked around about 5 hours. We let her set the pace and decide what we did and did not do and what she did and did not do. And we really had a good time with that. But Sunday, we were wrestling around a little bit, and she started coughing and felt like she was wheezing a little bit in her right lung again. And so that kind of bummed us out, because it's unusual for Paige to have any lingering symptoms after an admission. And she has that and some dark circles around her eyes too, which is typically characteristic of when Paige is not feeling well. She's a little ill, fighting an infection, not when she's fresh out of the hospital and the infection and everything should be under control. So we put a call into her doctor's office this morning. Today's Monday. And we're going to see what they say. She still feels like she's wheezing a little bit in her right lobe every now and then. I haven't heard it yet, but Paige is very, very attentive to her lungs. And so I don't doubt at all that she's got some wheezing going on. So we'll see where that goes. She did just finish allergy shots this morning. It was her first round of immunotherapy. And we began what is to be a weekly 3-year commitment today. So she was pretty apprehensive going into this, but we have a wonderful allergist. Is that what I would call her? What her title would be? I'm not sure. She's an LPN. Her name's Pam, and she is just phenomenal. She has a special needs daughter herself and some special needs of her own. So she's very patient, and she has already gone out of her way to ensure that we are as comfortable as we can be, and that we can trust her with whatever it is that we need or that we need to do. And that really puts us at ease, and it put Paige at ease. So once the initial shot was out of the way, I guess it wasn't. So the initial shot is just a little bubble that is formed under the first layer of skin to make sure that the solution that's been mixed is not too strong. And so once that was out of the way, Paige was doing pretty well. She gets 2 shots, 1 in each arm, and we're treating for cats and dogs at this time. We're going to see how this goes. And her only other allergens are to a couple different species of mold and some different tree varieties. So those may come later, I guess, if this goes well. But for now, this is what we're doing. And the shot itself went really well. She didn't have any issues at all. You could barely tell where she'd gotten the shot. And so we sat for 30 minutes to make sure that things were going to be okay and that her body accepted the injections well. And then we left and came home. So that's where we're at right now, just sitting in my driveway. I asked Paige if she wanted to make this update with me, but she wasn't feeling up to it. She hasn't been feeling up to making updates for a couple weeks now, as you guys have kind of seen. And of course, that's all right with us. We don't want her to do it unless she's comfortable. And again, we only share updates that she is comfortable with. So she told me that she wanted to go in and grab a lunch and then I could go ahead and make the update. And so that's what I'm doing. So everything else is going well as it can be. So we're waiting to hear back to see if her doctors want to start any steroids maybe or anything based off of her lingering symptoms, or if we should just give it some more time. I suspect it will give it some more time. She was sick for what was it, about 8 weeks total. So it's not like her lungs are going to magically be back to normal. This is just a little unusual for us, so hence the phone call. Other than that, we're just trying to stay away from the public as much as possible. So she's been inside a lot, relaxing a lot, watching a lot of TV, and just resting. She's been napping a lot and relaxing and just trying to recover. She'll start homebound schooling sometime in the coming days. So a teacher will just come out for a couple hours a day probably and go over some things with her and give her some work and go from there. She's still doing church activities as much as she can. It's a little bit easier for her to do Wednesday night activities because there isn't such a large gathering of people in the building. And our girls in her youth class or her children's class know about Paige's hurdles, about her cystic fibrosis and all the different things we have to watch out for. And so the girls and their parents are really great about not coming if they aren't feeling their best. So it makes it a little bit easier. So it gives her a little bit of socialization. She wears a mask the whole time and just has as much fun as she can. And other than that, that's about our life right now. Treatments are back down to twice a day because she is post-admission and shouldn't need treatments 4 times a day anymore. She's still doing the antibiotic nasal rinses. And other than that, such is life. So I'll check in with another update soon at some point. Hopefully we can get out some other videos that I did film that I just haven't had time to edit. And then maybe we can get some new videos out of Paige doing some other things that she needs to for her health or just everyday life. So we're just settling back into home life, and that can always be a little bit hard to adjust to after a big crazy admission like the one we just had. So if anybody has any questions, let me know. We're just here and hanging out. Thanks so much for supporting us, guys, and Merry Christmas.